Loki lulled you into his false sense of security and then killed your interest with the next few episodes.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
So wait, you didn't enjoy? Let me ask you this: what did you think of episode 3 in terms of like flaws, or did you think it was boring?
When you say, what do you mean flaw?
So like inconsistencies or contrivances, or were you simply just bored?
I was too bored, I think, to look for inconsistencies. Were there a lot of contrivances that are going on?
You know how Loki is like in the MCU, he's supposed to be like the king of cunning to a degree, to the point where he would do intelligent moves that are going to cost people's lives or damage and stuff because he doesn't care ultimately. In the first episode,
yes, right.
They've reset him already to be someone who cares about people's lives by watching himself care on a movie, which doesn't fucking make any sense, by the way. That's not how development works. If you were to watch, religious Sitch praying to God from the future, you'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Make any sense.
To be fair, well, first of all, you're 100% right. I remember when I was watching that in the first episode, I'm like, oh, they're doing this because they want to make Loki from the TV show be like after Thor Ragnarok Loki instead of evil Loki from Avengers 1, which doesn't really make sense. But to be fair, it wasn't him watching himself become better. It was him watching that he was responsible for his mother's death. That's kind of warped him.
Yeah, well, so the problem with that's the thing, though. That is actually what gave him his development. Now he's watching a video of it. He doesn't even know if it's true. He says this is a lie, and then
he trusts
goes, no, it's true.
Yeah,
I don't think he would. I don't think anybody would, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't trust that.
Well, I mean, once you see that these people have the ability to pluck you out of time streams and you're time jumping, I mean, you'd imagine. Why would you think this?
Yeah, but they also want him to help, and they've shown him a video to convince him to be a good guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like, look, Loki, your actions lead you down bad paths. Now come and help us. It's like,
I did feel that way, definitely. I don't remember at what point. At some point in episode 3, I'm like, I feel like Loki should be more evil in this scene, and he's just not being evil whatsoever. He's being.
It's not even just that he's not evil enough, which I agree with, by the way. He's not smart enough. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Well, I did, as soon as they had the evil Loki is really a lady, I'm like, they're going for the whole lady thing. But then again, she's not really smart either. They're kind of both,
she's an idiot too.
Yeah, they're both kind of just
so now
stupid.
It's like, will they try to tell us who's smart, who's stupid, or are they just badly writing everybody?
Right.
Because where I wanted to get to was like how I understand Loki is someone who's relatively introverted ultimately in terms of like actual social connections, but at the same time he would command a whole horde of people if he thinks he's above them, which he often does. He thinks he's above everybody, basically.
Just like Hitler.
He does it. I quite like it in Avengers, where he just immediately when he walks outside, he's just like, you random group of people, fucking kneel. It's just like, neat.
Yes.
He's just doing a show until they pick him back up because again, he wants to be captured. There's a nice lot of cunning in Avengers, which of course is his 5 days ago. That is his continuity. So that's the Loki I'm looking for. And so he's like, right. So the situation is we're heading to freedom. We got to wait a few hours. And might just pop to sleep, I guess. And already I'm just like, God, all right, fine. And then she falls asleep in front of him when she said she wouldn't. She wakes up to see him getting drunk, revealing his secret identity, and singing to entertain the local people.
That made no sense. Yeah,
I was like, who the hell is this character? Like, what is happening? This is a bit much for Thor, even.
Well, it feels like they really should have established him having some like complete existential breakdown if they wanted to have him behave this way, because that's kind of how he was behaving when he's getting wasted, like he's just given up on everything.
I mean, you know that he can take on Thor in a fight, right? He does it in his movie with the Thor, and he does it in Avengers, where they go toe to toe. Somehow he can't defeat random guards and gets thrown out the window by them.
Yeah, that was really stupid. He gets defeated by train guards and thrown out.
Like. He can't use any of his magical powers. Like this is what I want to see from Loki.
He doesn't use his clone ability at all.
I want to see someone put every effort into beating him, and they finally actually land a blow. He falls over or whatever, and they're like, haha, and then he just gets stabbed in the back, and Loki's just like, do you really think that you actually had me? Like just stuff like that. But he does nothing like that. There's nothing smart. So you guys probably remember, but Agent Coulson's the one who threatens him in Avengers with a huge gun.
Yeah, and he
thinks he's got him, and he just gets stabbed. And it's the closest the film's ever come to being like, damn, that was fucking cruel. Because we like that guy at that point. The whole point of that movie is it motivates everybody to fight back as a team. It's good shit. But it's also something that Loki doesn't even... It's setting him on his journey of being confused exactly about where he stands. Because that's like who he is throughout the MCU. But this show is just like, I don't know. No, now he cares about everybody. Okay, do you remember that part? I was so thrown off. So I was watching it with Rags, where the buildings are falling down. No, not yet. They see the ship is leaving, and he's like, they're leaving all of these people behind.
Yeah,
it's like, what you don't care about
why
people.
Well, first of all, yeah, why would his character care? But then B, he already knows all these people are going to die anyway. They're literally in a doomed timeline.
Which I find is going to be contradicting in the next episode, because she said that everyone dies, including us, but now it seems they're in a post-apocalyptic world. Like it's more than just an event. You know how they established that Pompeii, you can do anything in Pompeii because ultimately it'll always end up the same because everything gets wiped out, which, by the way, does not make sense. I don't know if you've talked with anyone about that yet.
I haven't really thought about it.
Historically, it doesn't make sense.
It makes sense to a degree.
We can go over that in a sec. But the thing with this planet is that not everything gets wiped out, right? At least not for a long time. Because if there's a whole civilization that starts up, Loki being there changes the timeline completely.
Wait a minute. Wait, is there a new... The last episode I saw, it just cuts to... They're about the planet's about the moon's about to crash. We don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, so maybe this is a bit of a misunderstanding on my part, but like I've seen people talk about how the next episode's gonna be really different because it's like Loki and Girl Loki vying for power with what remains on that planet of the people. And do you remember he's got an image of President Loki?
How do they know that? The next episode's out already?
No, it's just speculation from trailer bits.
Oh, I see.
And so if they do that, I'll be like, how is that possible? So that's why I said, like, assuming that's what happens in the next episode.
Right. Oh, that's right, because there's some clip of him like running for president or something.
Yeah, and
okay, I got you.
I guess the idea is that he'll be competing with her potentially, and it'll be a fun, romp between the two.
They need to get off that fucking planet.
Yeah, sounds boring.
Them being on that planet was so boring.
Yeah, it was shit.
But relating to what you were saying, see, this is why I thought the first episode worked, because he felt like he was still the Loki character from the first Avengers, and he's still, it made they take away, he can't use his powers in that place, so there's some excuse for why he can't use his powers, and then he does manage to defeat the guard lady and outsmart her. And so I was like, oh, okay, this is like, Loki. He didn't just get beat around. He didn't just suck. But then after that, it just felt like more like, oh, it's comedic Loki. He just has to suck at everything because it's
You didn't get that impression from the first scene?
Well, they were obviously going for that when they had the, she hits them in slow motion and they have the
Yeah, he didn't have a clone with these people who just traveled through a dimensional portal. He doesn't do a clone, which is like the obvious thing to do.
Well, it didn't bother me that much. I was like, they gotta establish the show. He's confused as to what just happened.
Oh my god,
you can do way better than that.
Such an excuse.
Yeah,
we have to establish a show. It's a script.
I agree that they could have done it better. Like, he does the clone, and then it doesn't matter because they have like time powers, and they're already where the real Loki is, and they knock him out. Yeah, I agree. They could have done a better thing. It just
could have done it better.
About it that much. That didn't bother me so much.
All right, well,
But no,
I'll convert you eventually, fully.
Well, I don't think you. I like the first episode. Second, third episode, boring. I agree. Loki's characterization doesn't make sense. This is like the after Thor Ragnarok, but even softer Loki. Loki sucks now. They've had to tone him. They had to weaken his power for the show. I agree. I don't like the direction the show is going. Well, I had high hopes in the beginning. Okay.
You shouldn't have.
Oh, really? Oh, you were hopeful.
If you were judging from WandaVision and Falcon the Winter Soldier, you should have been.
Well, are they written? I assume they're written by different people.
True, but they're all got like the same approval rate, like people, I guess, behind it.
Sure, but that can go.
But you're right. I hope the new Spider-Man isn't going to be absolute shit. I hope the new Guardians won't be shit. Despite all of them being in the MCU. So yeah.
The Guardian movies are all good. The Spider-Man movies were good. So it's not like, it's not like.
Hence the hope, but at the same time, there's going to be potentially more or less mandates in terms of like, we got to get. I'm assuming you may be aware or not of them. They're looking to set up a Girl Avengers, like an exclusively girl.
No way. No way. Oh
well, this is the thing. I didn't quite believe it. And then they were like, just get a wider view on what's happening and really think about it. It's like, okay, so Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, who's called the Photon or whatever, like all of her powers from WandaVision. Like, okay. Scarlet Witch, like, okay. Black Widow's sister, who is going to be arriving soon in 2 weeks from her movie. She's going to be big into it. She-Hulk, she's on her way.
Oh, yeah.
And you got Natalie Portman's Thor is going to be happening.
Oh, my God.
And And then Ironheart is being set up, the Iron Man takeover, which is a black lady, I think, from what I understand.
The little black girl. They're gonna. Oh my god.
And the idea, I think, is it called A-Force or so? It's something like that, but it's just an all Girl Avengers.
Ass Force.
And the super bad thing that Free told me was a potential, but this is, I can't remember if it's from the comics or some kind of cringy new comics, but there's an enemy that basically mind controls people, but it can only mind control men. So it's going to knock out all the guys, and it's going to be up to the Girl Avengers to save the day.
How will they do it without male help? Without male accomplices?
I don't know, Adam. I do not know.
Well, it is kind of a mystery. I'm curious.
I think that was the lady in that very infamous female Thor panel where like the female Thor knocks out the female villain who's like, oh, don't you hate all these men like controlling society or whatever?
Oh my god.
You remember what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah,
that sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard, though.
And so what I was going to say was like, there's no reason why any of this can't work, but good God, like it sounds oof.
Well, I mean, it can't. I don't think it can work conceptually. Why we don't need an all-female Avengers team? Like you could have an Avengers team that has like a majority of women on it.
It could work because it could be well developed. It could be that there's really good writing behind all of these. That's what I mean, though. It's right. I don't think it would be good, but it's theoretically possible, right?
Well, I guess, except that I would say that the basis for it is going to be inherently woke, and that's going to prevent it from being good.
That was actually why I was saying that I'm just worried in general now. The MCU, with that goal in mind, everything's going to be like hammered into place, and so I don't think stories are going to be going in the. Like there's the Gardner technique with writing where you just let your characters sort of drive the story.
Grow, yes.
Because you're like, where would they go next? What would they do next? But this is more, we know exactly where you're going. Okay. You're like, okay. All right.
Well, but maybe this will be good because maybe. Well, no, I mean, that's not what I mean. I mean, good in terms of that they'll make this all-female Avengers movie. It'll be awful woke nonsense, and it'll perform so poorly that Disney will realize.
You think that'll happen?
Like a dead end to go down.
Never happen.
It depends.
I feel like it would take. I feel like it's not even mainstream audience-wise to think about how cringy and sort of agenda-driven that a lot of media is. I think that a lot of normal people are just like, yeah, whatever. It's superheroes fighting people.
Well, I think you're right to some extent, but I know that
they might notice at that point, though.
Yeah, and that's
like, what the hell's going on? Why is it all girls?
I know that a lot of people, when they saw Endgame, that one scene where it's like, oh, the female superheroes show up. Like, I know a lot of people who are normies that were like, what the fuck was up with that scene? Or just like, all the women are just there.
I can't remember who suggested this, but when they did, I was like, oh my God, I think that might have fixed the whole scene for both sides. It was, they were like, it should have panned and it should have had all of the girls. It should have been really awesome. And then the pan finishes with the last person in the queue and it's Drax. And he's like, let's go. I feel like that
would have been pretty funny.
That would have worked. That would have definitely worked.
And at that point, we could argue whether or not they're making fun of it. And
totally.
Right.
And I feel like that would have been better.
They're supportive of it. Right. Yeah, it could have been seen both ways. That would have been the perfect out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know though. What is the message of an all-girl movie like that?
Is it like it's girls can fight bad guys too? Adam, are you
but
against
is it
that?
no? Is it? But is it that, or is it we don't need the guys? Like that. That's two very different. And I think that's the problem. Like if the message was, oh, we can do it as girls, that's fine. But I always feel like the shoehorned message in all of these things is we don't need those guys. We can do it without them. And it's like, what the fuck? What's the problem with working with guys?
I think that the script will tell us that. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it was.
The script is going to hit us over the head with that. It's going to be painful for 2 hours.